Hello everyone, and welcome to this second topic in our Intercultural Communication Matters programme. Now this one is about the philosophies that influence diverse cultures, a really fascinating topic, I think you will agree. And in order to understand the philosophy of someone, you must understand what they believe and their background. So talking about myself and my background is rather important for this topic. So I'll first begin with telling you a few things about myself. I first started my life my working life as a speech and language therapist, and I was a director of services in the Midlands of England. But I was asked by the Medical Research Council to look at children who, although tested normally on intelligence tests, were found to be not doing very well at school. And because I also had a qualification in psychology and a doctorate in cognitive psychologist, they thought I was quite a suitable person for looking at this subject. So I have a background in speech pathology and psychology, and also I'm a trained teacher in educational psychology, as I took the educational psychology course, which allowed you to teach right across the age range. And latterly, I've ended up in universities researching in 38 countries, would you believe? Which I think gives me a suitable background for talking about philosophy. So what about philosophy? It's our belief systems that actually influence the way we live our lives and how we behave to other people. So in our plural societies, where we have living next door to people from different parts of the world, up the road from me are people from Pakistan, India, China. Would you believe that's in a small village? It's very exciting having this mixture of cultures, but one has to understand that sometimes their belief systems can come into a bit of conflict. So studying and understanding perhaps helps to make the situation better for us all. Let's hope so. Well, we have 3 different structures to the chapter. The first is looking at our belief systems, and the second one looks at social models and their issues, and finally, we look at whether a perfect society is possible. I'm just going to start by just showing you that all belief systems have symbols. And do you recognise this? A rather strange boomerang? And what philosophy do you think it comes from? Well, it's a symbol of the Aboriginal culture of Australia, the original natives, and it goes back to the start of creation. And it's a wonderful symbol of strength and perseverance. And of course, it's used by the tourist industry in Australia today because they promote it by hoping that all visitors to Australia will return. So it's a wonderful symptom of strength and courage. Another symbol that I've got loads of these in my house. Can you see it's a Japanese doll? And I was very lucky to work on a project involving Japan, which was preparing the 21st century citizen. And I was fascinated with these dolls. There are about 17 traditional dolls in Japan, and they have a day of celebration, March the 3rd, every year, in which also they celebrate girls as well. So that's a rather nice thing, isn't it? But the dolls, what do they symbolise? They symbolise good luck if you own one. And also they drive away the evil things in your life and the evil spirits that might be around. And if you go to Japan, you will see people putting their dolls on boats to drive away the present evil that's in their lives. a rather interesting tradition, isn't it? So what are we going to say about the first structure section in this program? And it's about the belief systems. Very, very interesting, because there are two major ones. The first one is relativism, and that means anything goes, and that all philosophies are good and believable. And the second one is pluralism, which is a bit more circumspect, because it believes that there are good and bad in all philosophies, but it is possible to bring them together successfully in many different ways for a good society. So that's rather a nice belief, isn't it? So our first section is about those beliefs and what they imply for us. Now, in the second one, we look at social models and their issues. This is a big subject, because all of us probably live in multicultural societies and are surrounded in life and work with people who have very different backgrounds and belief systems. And in England, we have a multicultural belief system operating for those coming in, and that means we follow the relative view that people, if they come in, they can live their own lifestyle. But it can conflict. We allow Sharia councils in Britain, and if you know Sharia law, you will know that you can have up to 4 wives under their legal system or regulations. But in Britain, we're only allowed 1 wife. So you can see how the different philosophies of people across the world can cause conflict. So the second section of this program is really examining some of those conflicts and what we might do about them. Now, the third one is about, is a good society possible? And we all like to think about utopia, don't we? Everything perfect. Perfection in us and perfection in our lives. But is that possible? Because if you examine us, they're good and bad in all of us. And if you examine the things that happen in our world, there are good and bad sides to it. For instance, I look out of my window and I can see a 20-mile-per-hour sign. When it was introduced, some people were very angry, and you found them rushing down the village street at a higher mile per hour than they perhaps would have done before. And also, some studies show that the lower the mile per hour of vehicles means there's more pollution. So you can see that a good thing also has a bad side to it. So I think you will find this part of the program really fascinating, looking at the many, many different things we all believe and live our lives by. So we do hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much for listening.